Good morning. Welcome to this week's Expert Chat, where we welcome the best and the brightest to come in and chat with us about their area of expertise. You can join live here in Kefi Studios, stream it on Facebook Live, or watch it after the fact on our website, playkefi.com. This week, we have the absolute pleasure to welcome Jennifer and Laura from Moms on Call. The Moms on Call has not only been our dear friends, but actually a part of the Kefi journey for almost 2 years before we even had a company name. So you can imagine we are so excited and honored to welcome them here. So please put your hands together for Jennifer and Laura from Moms on Call.
Hey guys, I'm Laura, one half of Moms on Call, and we are so excited to be here this morning with you and with all of you here at Play Kefi. What an incredible place you have created here, and it is really a lot of fun. So Moms on Call, a lot of you guys know, Jennifer and I have 8 children between us, and we created Moms on Call to be simple and concise parenting resources to get you through from newborn all the way through toddler. It has been the most fun over the last 17 years. So last week, a lot of you guys know that we launched our online courses, which actually brings us into your home. And today, we get to share with you, just in case you're having a little tantrum yourself at home, we get to show you a video from our frequently asked questions. Check this out.
Let's talk about tantrums. Here is the key point. If you want a behavior to continue, pay attention to it.
A great response is not in this house. Say it calmly and firmly. Tantrums are a show, and this show is all for you. They only continue if they are effective. So if you want your child to have repeated tantrums, then give in.
Tantrums actually are an opportunity for toddlers to explore the very natural human emotions of frustration and disappointment, and they just need time to figure out what to do with these things. If you give in, and we all do sometimes, you're telling them that it is my responsibility to handle your frustration, when what we want to teach them is that they're capable of managing frustration and disappointment.
If you tell your toddler no, and they totally melt down, that can be a straight to simmer time moment. They cannot hear whatever you say, so do not try to negotiate at this point. Just straight to simmer time, and wait for that great opportunity to have a hug moment.
That is when you can be heard and make a difference. Don't miss it.
Plus, in the Toddler by Design app and in the Smart section of your library, we have very specific instructions on how to deal with tantrums by design.
It is our way to be there as your support for tons of different kids in tons of different households, all experiencing the normal but frustrating behavior of toddlers. You are not alone.
This will not last forever.
Keep them safe, take the opportunity to do a hug moment at the end, and know that their behavior is not an indication of your self-worth or parenting ability. They just have to have time and opportunity to navigate normal human emotions.
My name is Jennifer Walker. I am the other half of Moms on Call, and I have the distinct privilege of working with Laura Hunter day in and day out, serving the needs of families. And we're so proud of some of these resources that we have created for you. But this morning, we have something very special for you. So thank you for being here. If you braved this Atlanta weather and all this rain to get here, we appreciate you. And if you are at home wondering if you're even going to get a shower today, snuggled up with some coffee and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 toddlers of your own, then we have a great message for you. Today, we are going to talk about how to communicate to a toddler. And we don't want to make you a perfect parent. We don't believe in perfect parents or perfect ways to communicate, but we are going to teach you skills and the ways that a toddler learns. We're going to use those ways to be able to communicate to them effectively, which will make you feel less stressed and more effective. And that's all we're going for this morning. And the great news is that toddlers communicate in easy, simple, and repetitive ways. So let's learn a little bit about toddlers. Now, any of you who have either been around toddlers or have toddlers of your own, especially on this particularly rainy Atlanta day, you are going to be stuck inside with them all day, and you may have noticed a quality that they have, which is they do not respond to reason. And oftentimes we think that they're like little adults. And so we're going to respond to them as adults, and we like to explain things, and we like to go and tell them all the reasons why they should do things, why there is some type of future advantage to what we're trying to get them to do. And the thing that we have learned is that they typically don't respond to that. Now, they love to watch your facial expressions and listen to you, and so it seems like they're listening. Sometimes they'll even repeat stuff back to you. Why would you eat broccoli? It's healthy. Yes, and then properly go and eat a donut. And you think, how did that happen? Like, I feel like they understood, but never, not once in the history of toddlerhood did any toddler ever say, I think I'll choose the broccoli. It's never too early to be heart healthy. They just don't make their decisions on the basis of future outcomes. And oftentimes we try and utilize that to get them to do things. So instead of over-explaining, I'm going to give you one more example. If you are trying to get your child to hold your hand across the street, very basic, non-optional safety issue, and you want to explain it to them, oftentimes it looks a little bit like this. Like, of course, you have to hold my hand across the street because if you don't, you could get hit by a car, and then the ambulance would come, and then you would go to the hospital. And that toddler is thinking, will the sirens be on? That sounds fantastic. Like, yes. So they don't get these future outcomes. They are in the moment. And I want to invite you today to be in the moment with them and to speak their language during non-optional events. And we're going to learn some really fun, silly things today. So I'm so glad for you guys who are here. We're going to have a great time learning some really super effective skills that parents, you may have seen parents of multiple children out of desperation develop these skills. I'm going to teach you today. You're going to be ahead of the game. So we learned one thing about toddlers. They do not respond to reason. They don't make decisions in the moment for a future benefit or outcome. And so some of the other ways that toddlers learn is they don't have abstract thinking, which means if I say, we have to go now, you don't want mommy to be late, they don't understand what late means, nor do they care if you're late. And if you have more than one, you know this to be true. So instead of over-explaining those things, we're going to use the things that are effective in the non-optional events of life. And so let's talk about what non-optional events are. Non-optional events are two of my favorite things in the whole entire world, sleeping and feeding. I love those. Those are activities of daily living that are non-optional. Getting out the door, non-optional. Holding my hand across the street, non-optional. So how do I talk to a toddler in toddlerese in a way that they're going to understand that will help it to be more effective? First of all, we're going to do it simply, and then we're going to give them 2 pieces of information. They're looking for 2 pieces of information from the person that teaches them about life and the world and keeps them safe. And what they want is your confidence in their ability to do it expressed in 2 pieces of information, which is what's happening and what are they to do about it. So instead of it being more complicated to talk to your toddler, it's actually easier. It's repetition and providing them the 2 pieces of information that they're looking for in non-optional events, which means in the scenario that we just talked about where you're trying to get them to hold your hand across the street, you would say, we hold hands across the street to keep you safe. It's just how we do it every time. And then sometimes we can throw in this little third element that actually helps you to infuse them with your confidence and say, you'll be great at it. You'll figure it out. And that way, they have all the pieces of information that they need. So not only am I going to say things with my words in a clear way, simple, repetitive, 2 pieces of information, but I'm also going to follow that up in consistent messages with two other things: actions and body language. So you know that toddlers read our body language. They don't have a ton of words yet, and yet we use lots and lots and lots of words to try and affect their behavior. But there's something else that they're paying attention to, and I'm going to teach you today how to tap in to the power of no options face. No other options, confident face. And this is what parents of multiple kids know, because desperation is a great motivator. When you have more than one, when you have two or three, when you have challenging kids who are active, and if you have ever asked yourself, are they trying to frustrate me? The answer is yes, but not for the reason you think. They're trying to frustrate you because they want to see what that looks like. They want to know from the person who keeps their life in order and teaches them about the world, what does frustration look like when it plays out on someone's face? How close do those eyebrows get to each other? And it's not mean-spirited. So I'm going to teach you those additional skills. Today, we're going to talk about the nonverbal skills that help you to get your toddlers to do the things that you want them to do. And so in order to do that and look like we mean it, these are some of the nonverbal cues. I'm going to go through three. We're going to start off easy, and then we're going to go advanced. And for those of you at home, try this out with your friends. Look in the mirror, especially if you're really tender-hearted. Sometimes it's harder to get the hang of this. But when we're talking to kids, one of the things that I will notice as a toddler consultant, I partner with families all over the globe, so I get to peek into their homes and see what's happening with everybody, but really all over the world. And what I notice is at the end of a lot of our statements, we will often say, okay, okay, okay. We're not going to eat that cake now, okay? You're not going to touch that, okay? You're not going to put that on your little brother, okay? You're not going to kick him in the teeth, okay? Hand me that knife, okay? And the toddler is thinking, actually, this seems like a lot of fun. What else have you got? So instead of saying okay to a toddler who their mind takes that word and translates it, if it's okay with you, it sets the atmosphere that I cannot proceed in whatever's happening without permission from a toddler. Okay? Okay? But we're not going to drop that off the end of our sentences, so we have to change it. And that's going to be our first phrase that I'm going to teach you. When I say I'm going to give you tools, I'm going to give you practical tools that you are going to use in your house today that are going to feel really effective. So instead of saying, okay, we're going to say, got it. And that's really what we're asking. We just want the affirmation that they understood us or understood what we asked of them. So, in order to do that, utilizing our secret weapon of no other options face, we've got to say got it with some help. We're going to go chin down, eyebrows up. Got that? Everybody, got it? Yes, at home. Got it? Sometimes a finger comes out like automatically, right? So let's just try that. This is just basic communicating with toddlers with one of our really, really powerful influencers. So on three, let's go. Got it. Chin down, eyebrows up. 1, 2, 3. Got it? This is going to help you to be so much more effective. Okay, and I like to give you scripts. One time, my husband and I were watching TV, and in the end of the hour, all of the problems that this large family had were like all solved. And I said to my husband, that's how I want life to go. I want to be able to solve all my problems in an hour and have exactly the right thing to say. And he said, honey, they have a script. And I was like, that's what I want. I want a script. So I'm going to provide you with a script. We got one script already. Got it? Now I'm going to give you the second one. And the second one has to do with reducing your everyday frustration. And that is, we try and make life adjust to our toddlers so often, and that is exhausting. And what I want to do with this next phrase, this next script, is help you to make your toddler adjustable to life, which means my job isn't to always convince them to like stuff. that if I convinced them, if they understood why they needed to do it, or if I convinced them that this was valuable, then they would enact the behavior I'm looking for. Hold my hand without wiggling away, or stop hitting their sister with a plastic hammer. But actually, our kids are not going to like everything that's non-optional in life. So I want to give you the freedom with this next piece of information to be able to move forward in life even when your kids don't like it. It's so valuable for them. So here's your next phrase, and then we're going to match it with another nonverbal communication. And it's, you don't have to like it, but you still have to do it. All right, so let's just practice the phrase. You don't have to like it, but you still have to do it. Guys, 1, 2, 3. You don't have to like it, but you still have to do it. I still employ this with my grown and teenage children. They have to do the dishes. They have things that are non-optional in life. So they don't have to like it, but they still have to do it. So let's go on to our second nonverbal cue as a parent. And this one is a shoulder shrug. I like this one. This is a shoulder shrug. Okay? So we're going to say, you don't have to like it, but you still have to do it. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. All right. You ready for that? Did you get it? Shoulders. All right, everybody loosen up at home. It's almost like an upper body workout this morning, right? Here we go. You don't have to like it, but you still have to do it. On 3, then give me your shoulder shrug like I mean it. 1, 2, 3. You don't have to like it. You still have to do it. I'm not worried. All right, now if you're ready, we're going to go on to our final phrase. And one of the other important elements that help toddlers to be able to do what we're asking them to do is when we encourage that behavior, when we believe in their ability to do the things we're asking them to do, and we're not afraid of their reaction. And so what I want to do is to give you a tool in which to infuse your confidence in your toddler, to know what they're capable of, and communicate that to them in the ways that toddlers understand. Repetitively, they are going to know that there is somebody in this world that believes in my ability to do the things that life requires: sleeping, feeding, getting out the door, and crossing the street. And that's by giving them short phrases of encouragement. So here's my last one, and one of my favorites. I know some of you here, and you have kids who have an engineer mind, and they're always trying to figure things out and how things work and how things fit together. And toddlers are in complete exploration phase. So this phrase is going to help them to know what they're capable of, and that is, you'll figure it out. And now we're going to go with our third advanced nonverbal cue. It's a 2-step process. If you guys are ready for this, it will transform your household even today. Try this at home. This is the air swipe and exhale of confidence. Okay, 2 steps. You'll figure it out. Right? All right, try not to spit on each other. You're sitting kind of close. But let's try that phrase. You'll figure it out. Well, let's try our nonverbal cue for that's a 2-step process. It's pretty complicated. All right, so let's do air swipe. And then your exhale of confidence. Right? I look so confident right now. I so believe in your ability to figure it out. I have exhaled my confidence. It is now available for anybody in the sound of my voice. All right, so let's put that right after. You'll figure it out. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. You'll figure it out. I'm not worried. Look at that. Number 2. Got it. Yeah, the finger comes out, right? Every time. Got it. Can't help it. Been doing this for a while. And what we find is when we employ the nonverbal cues, we match that up with the clear, simple scripts and words that I'm giving you that help to encourage your toddler's ability to believe in what they are capable of. And we do that repetitively, that if we will back that up with the last thing, which is action, doing things and proceeding even without convincing them that they like it, then that helps us to move forward in the non-optional events of life that serve the whole family, serves the whole household, works across the board for so many different varieties of toddlers. And they are a bit different, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute so that when I take your personal questions and when you guys who are joining us on Facebook Live, I want you to send your questions in so that we can apply these principles to what you're going through in your house today. I want this to benefit you. I want this to decrease the stress, and I want it to increase your influence in the life of your toddler and help you to communicate the things that are important to you. So, when we back these things up with action for the non-optional events of life, we are going to be able to move forward with all kinds of toddlers, and they're different. So I'm going to spend just a moment talking about that, and then we're going to take some questions, all right? So at Moms on Call, you may have seen that we have what we call the SMART paradigm. And what that means is, as you've probably realized, especially if you have more than one kid, when the second one got here, you thought the things that worked with the first one don't work with the second one. Or sometimes your kid's not sleeping through the night. You've got, of course, this lady down the street whose kid slept through the night since birth. Or you've got a kid at the grocery store who's yelling and screaming, and the lady behind you has a kid who's sitting there absolutely quiet. And you're like, why? Am I doing something wrong? And the answer today is unequivocally no. The answer today is we're going to talk about how to parent the kid you got using our different simple techniques that we've learned today and how to communicate. All right, so here are our 5 different kinds of toddlers. These are the things that they're motivated by. And if you have more than one kid, this may give you freedom all by itself, just knowing why they're different than each other, even in the same family or their cousins or that kid down the street. It's SMART. S stands for social. Those kids love and are motivated by those facial cues that we just talked about. They love human interaction. They're typically very engaging and charm even strangers. The second, M in SMART, is for movement. I had 2 of these. I have twins who were both motivated by movement. They would scream as loud as they could and run as fast as they could in opposite directions from the moment they got here. And those kids love movement. They love climbing. They're just a safety risk. It is all about safety and containment with these kids. They see a ladder where we have put up a bookshelf. So it's just take the furniture, put it in the basement, just make a safe environment for these kids, and you will enjoy them so much more. All right, so we have social, movement. An engineer is the A, an engineer. And those are those kids we touched on before. They want to know how things work. They put things together. These kids are consummate stallers. They have a process. You can't get these kids out the door because they're always thinking about what they're doing, and they have a number of steps they have to complete before they are ready to get out the door. Finally, R is that rule follower. So that's that kid at the grocery store that sits in the cart. And the mom goes, I don't know, I just tell them no, and they're fine. And you're like, really? I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my child in the car seat. It's a 5-point restraint, and their arms are flailing. And that's not because they're a better parent than you. It's because you got different children with different motivators. And what motivates a rule follower is not going to motivate a movement kid, and vice versa. And rule followers do. That sounds like a great kid to have. Like everybody's like, how do I get that one? Just make them. I don't want to make every kid a rule follower. I want to celebrate exactly how they were made and what they love and are looking for in life. I want to bring out the best of who they are. That rule follower will have some bossy times. We have siblings like this. I always tease my sister. She's an awesome rule follower. She turned out to be a lawyer. She utilizes this really well. But they go through this time, right, about 3.5 to 5, where they like to perpetrate the rules on all the people. And if you ever in a situation that doesn't have clear rules, they're happy to take over for you. And they line their little baby dolls and stuffed animals up, and they're going having class, and they like to be in charge. They're line leaders, but they can get kind of bossy. They make great older siblings. And finally, the one that I get called out to the most as a infant and toddler care consultant, in the toddler part, if the kid is a T, which is for touch, then they're calling me because they're biting, swatting, hitting. They love human contact. And you'll see these kids, like, no matter where they are, like, they have a younger sibling, like, they're always like, my foot has to be touching them, my hand has to be touching them. They always want, and these parents have such a hard time because you want to understand why, on one hand, they're so affectionate and they're the first one to give you a hug because that's how they experience elation and what they're looking for in life. But also, if they get frustrated, they go to pull your hair or swat at you. How is this the same kid? It's the same kid because their motivator is human contact. And our job is to help provide some human contact so that we, as their person that's bigger and smarter than them, teaching them about life, have an opportunity to speak into that and help them to be able to manage. It's a wonderful, affectionate way to be designed. And as I take your questions, I will apply the things that we learned in review. The ways to speak to a toddler is to be in the moment, is to use your nonverbal cues, chin down, eyebrows up, shoulder shrug, and the advanced air swipe and exhale of confidence. These things will go a long way. It's to say simple and repetitive things with two pieces of information, which is what's happening and what do I want you to do about it. And we can even go advanced with that and follow up with, you'll figure it out, I'm not worried, or you'll be great at it. And that allows us to infuse their heart with the one person who is the first voice of hope that this child will ever hear. That's your voice, and you're going to utilize it to tell them that they're capable. And we're just going to build it into the everyday of life. But there's specific ways to say that for each one of the designs that, again, is advanced. But in general, across the board, no matter what kind of kid you got, all of these things are going to work. Speak to them with a confident face when you think about it. You won't always do it perfectly. Like you noticed in the video that we played before, sometimes mommy gets frustrated, and they are interested in seeing what frustration looks like. So it's okay to get frustrated and let them see and apologize later if you need to. Like, oh man, mommy got more frustrated than I meant to. And I'm sorry. That is a valuable thing for them. So if you don't always say it exactly like you've learned today, I don't want that to be an indication that you're not doing it right. You are, even in those frustrating reality moments of life. But across the board, these phrases and these encouraging phrases are going to work with every kind of kid we may have gotten. So now I'm going to open it up to a few questions so we can apply these principles specifically to what you're going through on this rainy day inside your house with your family. Joey, do you have some questions that people have maybe sent in? Were you ready?
I do. I hope you're ready. We've got a couple.
I'm ready.
So first from the Kefi Facebook page.
Yes.
Gwen asks, at what age should you begin swaddling, and how can we continue to do so?
Great. Well, thank you, Gwen. And that's such a wonderful question and something that we are, basically, we've been doing this for years and we're experts at. And as a matter of fact, have some swaddling blankets here that we work together with Gerber Children's Wear to put these together. We start swaddling as soon as you get home from the hospital. You will get a swaddle at the hospital, and they will do a method that depends on the baby's body weight to keep it secure, but they have that startle reflex that lasts until 3 months of age, where those arms fly to the side and they look really surprised. It happens without their permission. So tucking those hands right behind the hips, opening up that chest so that they can breathe really well, and getting these arms out of their way helps them to rest and relax. So we've got to get these babies all the way up to when they're almost 3 months old, when that startle reflex begins to disappear and they are developmentally ready to find their own comfy spot. And since babies double their birth weight by the time they are 4 months old, that means we're going to have to swaddle some pretty big babies. And so we show you a method developed by Laura and I, pediatric nurses, that is safe and allows breathing room, keeps those arms right where they should be, and allows proper hip development. So that was a great question, Gwen. Thank you for asking. All right.
And
Question number 2.
Oh, we've got a question live from the audience.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi.
I have a toddler, and
Yeah.
he just started doing very unsafe behaviors. Like he'll go to the, he'll find a knife in the room, like that kind of
Yes.
stuff. Or he'll go to the house plant and take all of the dirt out of it. And How do you say stop or no or teach no if that's something you agree with and get him to stop going to the most dangerous thing in the room?
I do agree with the word no unequivocally, having done this for a long time and having 3 boys who at one time found the vanilla insert in a I put a stick up underneath of the diaper pail and I left for 1 minute and they found that vanilla insert and they were chewing on it. So, poison control, you should have that number available. You may be calling them once or twice, right? How old is this child? 16 months, perfect. So they're just right in that sweet spot, which is typically between 13 and 16 months, where they begin to identify what behaviors are defiant and accidental. Some of these are beginning to be defiant. And at this age, what you're probably noticing is when you say no, they think it's kind of funny at first, like this is new, and they laugh and keep doing what they're doing. So we're going to employ all the 3 things that we learned today to help them to know what no means. So we have to say it like we mean it, and when that charming little face looks at us after we said no and smiles, oh, we so want to smile back and laugh because they're so cute. Look, we made something so cute, right? So we want to respond, but what I want you to do is keep a stern look, chin down, eyebrows up. No. So that gives that backup to the word. And then I want you to back that up with a 3rd thing, which is action. Which means even if he doesn't like it and he won't, I want you to remove him from that situation. And oftentimes, if they just have your face, it's almost a reward. So you don't bring him over here and go, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at mommy's going to tell you something while he's going, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I want you to just say it. We don't pull stuff. We don't pull plants. We don't pull the dog's tail. We don't try and run out the front door, whichever thing it is that he is doing in that moment, right? But I want it to be about 1 inch from his face and stern so that I communicate to him that this is an unwanted behavior. And then I want to follow it up with this, which is what we call a hug moment. And the hug moment is then you hug him, H. You're going to use your confident face, and G, you're going to give him positive feedback. So what I want him to know is not only what no means, but I want him to know that he'll figure it out, that I'm not worried, and that he knows how to obey mommy. So any of those phrases will come on the end. So what that scenario will look like, we'll use the plant. He gets to the plant. He goes to pull it out, and you say, no. Chin down, eyebrows up, stern. He smiles at you, laughs, and no. When mommy says no, she means no. We're going to remove him from that situation. He's going to go double jointed, fall out from your hands, and you're going to have to pick him up sideways, legs to the back, okay, to remove him. Sometimes it's, just a rodeo. Then we're going to get him into a place where we say, no, we do not pull plants out of planters. And then we do our hug moment at that age. H, then I'm going to hold him. I'm going to use my confident face. I'm going to say, you'll figure it out. Where's he going to go next? Straight to the plant. Because what did we learn about how toddlers learn? They learn through repetition. And so he's going to try that again. And it's just that simple. We're going to redirect him and redirect him. And if you find that he just keeps going back and going back, then we can give him what I call a simmer time moment, where we just separate him for a few minutes from your face and action and let him bear the weight of having made that decision over and over again now that he can identify that that was in fact defiant. Make sense? Yes, and you may feel like, how many times can I do that in a day? Will be your follow-up question when you put this into place in your house. As many times as it takes. I want him to know that you're trustworthy. And if we'll do that, then he will know that, oh yeah, I can explore that once or twice, but then it's going to have a consequence I don't like that this woman who loves me is going to put into place on my behalf. That'll be the bigger thing that comes out. The plants will be fine, but he'll know your character, which is even better. We have another one?
Oh, we've got plenty.
Oh, good.
So Kiara asks, how can she manage the nights of 2 really great moms on call toddlers, 3 or 4 years old, or 3 and 4 years
3
old.
or 4.
She's guessing.
She has toddlers.
the-
They're
the-
somewhere in that range.
Yeah, so they no longer have diapers and are constantly getting up to use the potty during the night about 2 or 3 times. So she's wondering how she can manage that.
That is an awesome question. Okay, so we make that non-optional environment for nighttime. So at Mom's on Call, let me back you up. When she says she's got Mom's on Call toddlers, that means that they're in their room in a non-optional environment that is safe, child-proofed. And at 2 and 3 years old, I've got some fantastic news. They do not get control over their bowel and bladder habits until between 3 and 5 years of age. So that means pull-ups are for sleep times. And so that's not going to ruin potty training. And if they're making it to the potty during the day, that's great. But sleep times, nap time and nighttime, are for pull-ups until they wake up almost a week, if not 2, in a row, dry. Then we know that they don't have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. So the great news is we're just going to start to put this on the radar utilizing the things we've learned today. Oh, you know what? You guys have been going to the bathroom a lot at night. Nighttime is for pull-ups. But what if they pull that pull-up off and they pee on the floor? I'll deal with that in the morning. What if they paint some poop on the wall? This is what I do for a living. I've heard it all. We'll deal with that in the morning. And when you open that door in the morning, that's when you confidently say, you didn't have to throw your pull-up in the corner and pee on the floor. When pull-ups are for sleep times, you could have worn them all night. Well, let's start our day. You'll figure it out. Oh, this is definitely advanced. Whew, exhale of confidence. And what they need to know is you're not worried. And after you put this into place for about 3 or 4 nights, then they will take your confidence. And so instead of them running the show and you feeling like you've got to save potty training and get them 3 and 4 times in the night and you're exhausted, you tell them how nighttime works. You put it into place long enough for them to get that repetition of it. And then you enjoy all night sleep. And when they wake up for a full week dry, then we can give it a try. Take those pull-ups away. We still aren't going to get them up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, but they'll be able to hold it because they're developmentally ready. All right, do I have time for one more?
We'll make it time for 2.
Time for 2.
Okay, there's been several questions.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
several questions. I'll consolidate them down.
Perfect.
Liz says, my child is the T, as you just described.
Touch.
Yeah, such a snuggler, never met a stranger, but will slap me and my husband when he's frustrated. What do you do to calm them down in those moments where they're hitting and biting?
Again, I love that question. And to you that sent that question in, let me tell you a couple of encouraging words for your parent heart. You are not raising a bully. What you're actually doing is you have established that you are the one that they trust, and you have made security in your relationship. So they're looking to you to tell them how to manage this love for human contact. And it'll play out in elation with the hugs in the same way that it plays out in frustration with the tugging. And here's exactly what I want you to do about it. When that happens, they're usually in close proximity. And what they're really asking is, what do I do with this frustration? It makes me want to initiate human contact. So we want to be able to get our chin down, eyebrows up, much like the no. And I want you to be about 1.5 inches away from their face. And I want you to say, we do not pull hair. Stern, but not yelling. And I want it to startle them a little bit, and that charming sense and that sensibility and intuition they have about human relationships that you've noticed is going to kick in. And that may make them startle and cry a bit. That just puts this on their radar. And then you go in with that hug moment. Then you hug them, you use your confident face, and you say, show mommy nice touch, light touch. Good. And sometimes these kids, if they have a minute or 2 to gather their frustration, where they don't have opportunity to hit somebody, a sibling or a parent, those are the ones they're trying this stuff out on so they can figure out what to do with their frustration, then it's okay to put them in simmer time, which we talk about in the Moms on Call book and the Moms on Call online classes. And if you'd like a partner to help support you while you work through this challenging behavior, then we also have personal consultations and consultants that are fantastic, especially here in the Atlanta area, but we can get to you digitally wherever you live, any country, anytime. we can support you as you support them so that you have that voice that says, it's okay, Mom, you're not raising a bully. He just wants to know. He needs time to figure out how to manage his love for human contact, and it's going to take a while developmentally for him to get what soft always means. So give him plenty of time to practice. And the other thing I'd like to say is in the evening time with these touch kids, roughhouse with them. Wrestle. In my house, we called it the Wide World Wrestling Hour right before bed. So I want you to do that so that they can kind of get a little rambunctious, and then you can teach into that so that they're not going to use these skills on other people. Like, if you're not going to teach me how to use this, then I'll try it out maybe on a kid at, daycare. No, I want you to do it here at night. We'll kind of roughhouse, and when it gets too hard, then I'm going to tell you, that hit was too hard. That hurt. Try again. And that gives them time to practice with the people that love them the most, how to get the best out of the way they're designed. So I hope that's encouraging for you today, and all of you who have touch kids.
Yeah, so last question, which is actually a combination of about 4 different questions that we've been getting. And
Yes.
it really just comes down to children of all ages, 20 months old, 3 years old, several times of 3 years old,
Yes.
but just constantly having tantrums anytime they're told no, anytime they don't get what they want.
Yes.
What do we do about tantrums?
So you saw in the video, and we have more of those videos, frequently asked questions in the online classes, so we can set you up with all the ways to manage and handle those behaviors. But the thing that I want to let you know is that tantrums are normal. So children, when they get free will and they begin to experience normal human emotions like frustration and disappointment, they need time and opportunity to figure out what to do with these things. And far be it for them to get to 6 and 7 and 8 and never have had time and opportunity to figure out what it feels like to be disappointed or frustrated. It's normal and it's healthy. And we just want to provide an environment where they can work it out. Touch kids, they're going to work it out by, beating on the door, trying to hit or throw something. Movement kids, they're going to seem like, if you remember back at Bugs Bunny, that Tasmanian devil that just went in circles and circles and circles. Those social kids, they're going to have a full-blown, dramatic, Oscar-worthy meltdown that makes you think as a mom, I have ruined their spirit. And you haven't. Because like 1 second later, if you have an ice cream cone, they come right out of it. Like in the next second, like, oh, ice cream. So you know that they can go from one to the other. They're trying these things out. And as a parent, those tantrums are helpful. I don't want that to be an indication of your self-worth or your abilities as a parent. This is healthy. They need time and opportunity to figure out what happens when they misbehave, what happens when they feel frustration, and what happens when they feel disappointment. And typically it's not a pretty meltdown. But at the end of that, we're going to do, again, that hug moment, employing the things we learned today, our confident face. We're going to hold them. We're going to use our confident face, and we're going to give them positive feedback. And we may say one of those phrases that's my favorite that we learned today, and I'll close with that, and that is, you don't have to like it, baby, but you still have to do it. And you're going to be great at that. Thank you so much for having
Everyone,
us here
give
today.
it up for Jennifer and Laura from Moms on Call. I mean, I'm sorry we weren't able to get to nearly all the questions that we had, but people were rattling them off, so we'll make sure that we can get as many of those covered, hopefully even in future conversations. But thank you again so much to Jennifer and Laura for coming. It was such a pleasure to show you all around. We even lost Jennifer briefly in Toytropolis. We had to go find her, but it looked like you were having a good time at least.
I had so much fun. And here at Kefi, what I love is no matter what kind of design your kid may be, you put everything. The touch kids have something. The movement kids have something. The engineers have, the whole area in the back where there's toys and manipulatives. And then the social kids have placemats. People who know childhood development that get to engage them. It's wonderful because if you have a social kid, you're exhausted because they're always they have what I call a 30-second lookometer. That has to be filled every 30 seconds. So one of the most wonderful things that I love is there are always eyes and interaction available. So thank you for everything that the brilliant minds did here to put together something that serves families. They serve a lot of the same families that we do.
And here's to serving many more families. So thank you, whether you were here live in Kefi Studios, streaming live on either our Facebook page or the Moms on Call Facebook page, or watching after the fact on playkefi.com. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.